Yo, it's your man C. Scott, and welcome back to this week's episode of Coffee Grind. Now, this week I'm going to be speaking with Michelle Poitier of Michelle Speaks. Now, she is an author, an activist, a mental health advocate, as well as an inspirational speaker. And she's been recognized and gotten accolades from Governor Rick Scott, as well as the White House under the Obama administration, from her work that she's done in the community. Now, this week we're going to be talking about some of the stuff that she's done to help heal from traumatic experiences. So her journey, as well as some of the things that she does to help other people heal, namely women, because she works a lot with women in the community. Now, this is going to be a two-parter, y'all, so as most of them are, but it's going to be good. It's going to be chocked full of just helpful, useful tidbits, information, jewels, gems, as always. So grab yourself a pen, grab yourself a pad, get you some coffee, and get ready for this week's episode of Coffee Grind. First of all, thank you for agreeing to do this. I definitely appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Yeah. Now we can get back into it.
All right.
So we were talking about before we started rolling. So you ran a marathon, half marathon. You've run everything.
Yeah, marathon, half, 10K, 14K, 8K.
Jesus, you've done it all.
And I did it backwards.
Right.
So I started out with the marathon.
Without training.
26.2 miles.
Right.
And I added, I'm a claim that 0.2. Somebody's like 26 miles. I'm like 0.2.
0.2, exactly.
Please.
You're damn right. Like, give me those two.
Right.
That's when people start talking about the river run. I did that. We were talking about that. And that 15K is 9.3.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, don't say I ran 9 miles. No.
Right.
Give me my point.
Exactly. Exactly.
It's 26.2 with no training.
No training.
Like how? What? Just you didn't run at all before that?
No.
Or just not even nothing?
No.
Wow.
No, I was just. Honestly, I probably should give you the backstory.
Let's talk about this.
So I was at a point in my life, it was like 2012. I was in Virginia.
Okay.
Had just put my daughter, in college. So she was, I was an empty nester.
Gotcha.
Had encountered some challenges, dealing with stuff from the military.
Okay.
In a short amount of time, I lost a lot within a 3-month period. My job, a relationship, a significant relationship, my apartment, my car.
Oh wow.
So I was like, okay.
At, rock bottom.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, there's nothing else to lose. So Michelle, what are you gonna do?
Right.
And so, and then I broke my hip.
Oh God. Okay.
I fractured my hip, so I was down for a couple of months or whatever, and it was mending. And they were like, you will never wear heels again. That's what the doctors told me.
Okay.
And you will never run again, you will never exercise. And I was like, yeah, that's me. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, that's my signature heel. Stilettos, 6-inch, because I'm short. I'm 5'2", and I claim that.
Gotcha.
Well, I'm 5'2" and a half, but I claim that at half, so I'm 5'3".
Gotcha.
So
we'll just bump it up to 5'3".
Exactly.
But so they told you never wear heels again or exercise again.
Yeah, exercise. And I'm like, first of all, with the heels thing, the devil is a lie. Right. I will be wearing my heels again. Right. So, my dad was like, well, good. Does that mean can I go in your closet and throw out all your shoes? And I was like, over my dead body. No, we will fight.
Try that.
Right.
See how that works out for you.
So a couple of months later, I'd healed to the point, where I was like, I'd picked up a couple of pounds, and I was like, oh, I got to get this off,
Gotcha.
and just going through the things in my mind about okay, what am I going to do now? What is my next step? And I didn't have an answer. And so I was just looking for something to do. I was grasping at things to do to give me the will to want to continue to try and do and be. And so, one of my friends was like, well, we're going to do this 2-day. It was a Shamrock in Virginia.
Okay.
We're going to do this 2-day. The first day is an 8K. The second day is, a half marathon.
Yeah.
And so when I signed up for it, I'm like, okay, I thought I had signed up for the half. I did the 8K the Saturday. So that Sunday, they're like, no, you're running the whole marathon. We signed up for the half. And I'm like, well, I spent my money, so I'm going to run. So honestly, that weekend I ran more than the 26.2 because I did the 8K. So it ended up being like a little over 32.
Wow. So it happened by mistake.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And we were talking about before we started rolling, so you got that first win.
You know that momentum.
You feeling good.
And the
off
excitement, the synergy, everybody's all pumped up. You know, they got the signs out there, and you're running with people, and they're excited. They're like, because you pace yourself with people.
Right.
So I paced myself with this lady, and we were talking, and so before I realized it, we'd done 10 miles.
Okay.
I'm feeling good.
Okay, all right.
And then, the next 9 miles, I started kind of feeling it, and I was like, okay. I'd listened to my playlist a couple of times, so I started quoting scriptures.
Right.
I was like, Lord, you said you would never leave me nor forsake me. You said I would run and not grow weary. You said I would walk and not faint. Lord, I need you right now. What? So then I ran out of scriptures.
Ran out of playlists and scriptures.
Yes,
Okay.
so I'm like, okay. So I started looking at my feet. I was just focusing on putting one foot in front of the other.
Yeah, sometimes it takes that.
Right. And then you had the people along the side. They were cheering you on.
Right.
But by that time, I had gotten irritated because I'm like, Michelle, what in the hell were you thinking about? Why?
What did I sign up for?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was like, why?
Yeah.
But I just couldn't stop. It's just something that was in me. It was like, okay.
You've already started it.
Right. I was like, even if this thing kills me, I'm going to finish this race.
Right.
So I got to mile 23.
Okay.
And so, we were coming on alongside the people that were cheering us on, and all I could think, they were looking at me and they were smiling. They're like, come on, you can make it. And in my mind, I was like, shut the hell up.
You ain't running
you're breaking my focus. Like, shut up, don't talk to me.
Right.
So by the time we got to mile 26, and I saw the finish line.
Yeah.
And you know how we all do. We say, okay, we see the finish line. We're going to pump it up and we're going to sprint it. Yeah. So
Did you do that?
What? In my mind, what my mind said and what my body did were two entirely different things. So, I was like, okay, I'm a sprint. So I did about 2 or 3 steps. My body locked up.
Of a sprint,
broke it right back down.
Yeah. Because that's the same thing that happened to me with the river run. I saw the finish line. I'm like, nope. Let me just keep that pace.
I tried.
And it sounds good for a half second.
Yeah.
Until it doesn't.
I had never been so happy in my life to see a finish line. And I was like, okay.
But it's a major sense, at least for me, when I did the river run, I'm quite sure for you, it's a major sense of accomplishment. To,
it was.
To do that, and people, because a lot of people are like, I would never do it. And you're like, well, I did it.
Yeah. And then I couldn't walk. Like my body started locking up right away. It was cold.
Right. Okay.
It was windy. It was, a little bit of rain here and there. So I'm like, okay. And then I was trying to find my car. I didn't remember where I had parked. I was like, okay. So by the time I got to my car, I was walking like a penguin.
Right.
Like, yeah. How am I gonna make
so
this
you
happen?
drove? Did nobody you didn't have anybody?
Well, my mom had come out to support me, but I guess she got tired of waiting on me because it took me 6 hours.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she was gone.
She was gone.
She was like, I'm out.
She was like, baby, I'll see you.
I'll see you later.
Right. I didn't even have anybody at the finish line, that I, from my family or somebody I knew.
So you had to drive home with the seized up legs.
Yeah. So I stopped to get some Epsom salt.
Okay.
And I went to get out of the car and I just screamed because I tried to move and my legs were like, wow. And I said, ah. So I went in there and I'm like, where's your Epsom salt? And they're like, oh, in this aisle. So I'm walking like a penguin, still in my gear. I have my little pin on and everything, my ribbon. And I see the Epsom salt and it's on the bottom shelf. So I just stood there and I'm just looking at it. I'm like, I don't know how I'm gonna get this.
Right. I need that, but I don't know how.
So this older sweet lady, she came, she's like, baby, you okay? I'm like, no ma'am. She's like, well, what's wrong? I said, well, I just finished running 26.2 miles.
Taking those 0.2
that I've never run before, and my body is screaming, and I need to get that Epsom salt. Well, baby, I got it for you. And I felt bad because she was an older lady,
But,
I'm like, but she got it for me.
Oh my gosh.
So I made it home.
Yeah.
And I had a roommate at the time, because I was sharing with you earlier, I had lost a lot of things.
Right.
And so I was staying with a roommate, with a friend, And I sat outside in the car looking at the steps. I'm like, how am I going to get up the steps to get in the house? Because by this time it had really set in.
Yeah.
And I was like, Michelle, why? Just again, I was like, why did you do this? But I felt so exhilarated at the time.
Yeah.
But people don't tell you about when you come down off of that high.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. So I'm sitting there, and I'm like, okay, I got to get up these stairs. So I went and sat on the stairs, just scooted up backwards.
Like,
yeah.
What,
That's not even the best part.
Yeah.
Had to go up some more stairs once we got in the house to get upstairs to my room.
Okay.
So I ran a bath, hot,
Okay.
with lots, copious amounts of Epsom salt. Got in the tub. And after I'd soaked for a little bit, thought I was going to get out.
Yeah.
Couldn't get out.
Oh, no.
And nobody was home.
Oh, no. So you just...
The water got cold. I kept running it hot, when it got cold. And I text my friend. I'm like, hey, when are you going to be home? They're like, such and such. I said, okay. So when I heard them come through the door, I was like, hey. I said, don't look. I said, don't look at me, but I need you to help me get out of the tub. And they were like, what? I'm like, I can't get out of the tub.
Wow.
So, yeah, it was one of my more embarrassing moments.
Well,
Yeah.
But you still did it, though.
I did it, yeah, and that was like the beginning of the paradigm shift coming out, from a very bad cycle. Yeah.
That's what I was going to ask you, because I could already kind of tell, like that kind of. I think there's certain points when you hit rock bottom.
Yeah.
There's certain things and just moments
Yeah.
that just kind of shift you back into that next season that you're going into. And I was going to ask you, was that one of those things?
That was the beginning. That was the beginning of the paradigm shift. Yeah, that was the beginning.
Gotcha.
And then the next thing that I did, my friend again, the same late friend that had me sign up for the race.
Oh, gosh.
She was like,
this is one of those like frenemies.
Yeah. She said, there's this program that I think would be wonderful for you, because I've always been into taking care of myself.
Okay, yeah.
And I love being outside.
Okay.
And I told you earlier I'm a veteran.
Yeah.
And so they have a lot of programs for disabled veterans. I hate that word.
Okay.
But I got out of the military with an ailment, and so they consider me disabled, though I hate that word.
Yeah.
So she was like, I think this program would be very good for you, because I was still homeless.
Okay.
And I said, okay, well, I'll try it. I didn't even know what I was signing up for. I just signed up. And I was like, well, they're not going to select me. I mean, they had a worldwide pool of applicants to choose from.
Gotcha.
So they called me. I did the first interview on the phone. I passed to the next round. They called me again.
Yeah.
I passed to the next round. That's like, if we call you by this time and this date, then you're in. And I'm like, okay. So that date came. And I tried to act like it didn't matter, but it did. So, I kept looking at my phone, waiting on it to ring. I was like, it's getting late. I was like, I didn't get it. I'm like, Michelle, you really thought you were going to get it. Come on.
Right.
And so I was going to Zumba class.
Okay.
And right before class started, my phone rang. And I saw the number, so I answered it. They selected me.
Gotcha.
And so what it was is this organization called No Barriers. They take a lot of disabled veterans up into the mountains.
Oh, okay.
And it's more like an experience, letting them know that if you can climb a mountain, you can overcome any obstacles. So I was preparing to climb a mountain. Like, I'm definitely afraid of heights.
Oh, man. Wait a minute. So this friend
Yes.
They got you to run a marathon.
Yes.
And then a mountain, like, you just doing all this extra stuff.
Yeah.
That's it. But okay, you about to, afraid of heights, you about to
I was
climb a mountain.
petrified of heights. Still to this day. Like, I've never conquered the fear, but I confronted it.
Okay, gotcha.
So I'm like, okay, so what do I need to do to train? So they flew us out to Colorado to train.
Yeah.
And so that was an experience in and of itself, because it was 10 disabled veterans. I was the only female.
Okay.
Only African American.
Okay.
So I'm like, okay, I had to represent.
Yeah.
But I showed up in my signature heels.
Okay.
You know, nails done, hair done, lashes on at the time.
You showed up in heels to climb a mountain?
Well,
or to go through the training?
Yeah, because we had to meet everybody. We had the meet and greet. You know, I didn't know what to expect.
But you weren't like actually climbing the hills.
No.
All right. I was just making sure.
No.
That would be pretty badass.
Right.
Okay.
So I'm meeting everybody, you know, and I could see how they're looking at me. They're looking like,
right.
she's never climbed a mountain. She's not gonna make it. You know how you can read people's faces. And so it's like, so what's your background? And da-da-da-da. I said, well, I've never done any kind of climbing, hiking, anything. So this was, and they were looking like, yeah, okay. Okay. But in my mind, I was like, I'm not gonna be the weak link.
Right.
And so we did the training where we summited Mount Ajax in Colorado. That's like a little bit over 13,000 feet.
Okay.
So as you get higher, the air gets thin. I didn't know that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is all new to you.
Foreign to me.
As it happens.
Yeah.
Wow.
And as we got higher, I'm looking over the side. I'm like, oh God. I'm like, there's nothing. There was this mountain and little pathway and then drop off.
Right.
And so I'm like, okay, Michelle. In my mind, I'm like, God, you didn't bring me up here in these mountains to kill me, to let me die.
Right.
I mean, there were times the road was so narrow that I crawled. I literally crawled. I'm like, okay, I'm going to make it to the top of this mountain. Because they were looking at me like, yeah, she's not going to make it. And I heard a couple of them, they were whispering. They're like, she's not going to make it. And I'm like, oh, yes, I am.
Like, watch
Again, if it kills me. So we got through the training.
Yeah.
But that was just preparation.
Okay.
So the big feat was they flew us to Peru.
Okay.
For us to climb the Andes Mountain.
Climb which one?
The Andes Mountain.
The Andes Mountain. Okay.
The Andes Mountain.
Much bigger.
A little over 18,000 feet. And so, but it was a 9-day, it was a 15-day trip, but it took us each day, we hiked all day and we were going to different, points where they had set aside for us. But it was preparation to get us acclimated to the elevation. And I knew nothing about elevation sickness. And all I knew was that I started getting sick and throwing up as we were hiking.
I heard that could be a beast.
Yeah. We were hiking in the snow like up to here me because I'm short.
Yeah, but still.
And I did not think this out because I'm like, so where are the bathrooms? Where are the, They were like, this is your bathroom. I'm like,
world.
What? What?
Wow, okay.
So I was like, okay, Michelle, you're going to get through this. You're going to get through this.
Yeah.
And as we were going up the roads, the roads in Peru, they're narrow. The people there drive like a bat out of hell.
Okay. That's not a good combo.
Yeah. And so and they're 2 lanes. So we were going, taking us up to the switchbacks to the drop-off point, which I knew nothing about.
Right. Just learning as you go.
We passed this truck and we got so close to the edge. We scraped the truck.
Oh no.
And I just slid down to the floor and I was in the middle of the van. I'm like, I didn't even realize I was praying out loud. I'm like, Father, in the name of Jesus, I'm calling on your angels and your hedge of protection. Everybody just looked at me and they just started laughing. And I'm like, we're gonna die. They're like, no, we're not. I'm like, yes, we are. So, I lost my cool, but I regained my composure.
Okay.
And so I just started talking to them some more, and then we hit another switchback, and the van shifted in the rubble. So it kind of shifted. I was like, oh my God, I thought we were going off. So I jumped over. I jumped over and ended up in one of my shipmates' lap. I said, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry.
You're like, this is it.
What? And I was like, in my mind, I'm like, Michelle, why?
Right.
Like, why did it take this? Why am I out here?
Right.
But the tapestry, the landscape was beautiful. I mean, we did a service project, so we went to this little remote village.
Okay.
The people they were called the village of Quiros.
Village of
Quiros.
Okay.
They didn't have any outside contact with outside.
Gotcha.
So we were coming in to help them rebuild their guinea pig park, to upgrade their school and do some stuff to their huts. Like grass huts with dirt grounds and no running water, no electricity, none of that. So I'm like, okay. So we're hiking there and I saw my first alpaca and llama. They were like walking near us and I could just reach out. They were so beautiful.
Yeah.
But I just felt it was surreal.
Yeah.
And so I was, helping the children. They had these little rosy red cheeks and they were just so happy. And so instead of us playing Ring Around the Rosie, we were playing Ring Around the Alpaca. So it was an experience, but it helped me to appreciate the things that we enjoy here in the United States. We are like so privileged and so entitled, and so I mean they had nothing. Like literally, they worked to the bone sun up to sundown, just to exist. But they were a true community.
Right.
Everybody was truly working together as a community for one common goal.
Right.
And they were happy.
Right.
And I was like, we have all these things. We've got phones, we've got technology, we've got cars, we've got this, we've got everything at our disposal.
Yeah.
And we're unhappy.
Right.
And so for me, that was another paradigm shift.
Yeah. So those little things here and there that started kind of taking
pulling
and
everything
grabbing
together.
you out, grabbing you out of that.
And then the camaraderie, and then being able to be in that environment with a bunch of men. Because part of my history in the military was I was assaulted by a service member sexually, so I didn't have that trust.
Oh wow, okay.
And so I was just made up in my mind. I've got to confront this. I may not ever be able to conquer it, but I've got to confront it. Right. So it was two barriers that I confronted: my fear of heights and that. Right. And so we were. This was our 4th or 5th day in. We were going up. And we got to this point, and we had Sherpa, the Sherpas that they have coming along with you. Yeah. And I was so sick, but I was determined. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna make it by myself. I don't want anybody to have to carry me. I don't want to have to get on the horse. I'm not gonna do it. So I'm just hiking and throwing up and hiking and throwing up, and I had this horrible headache, but it was the elevation sickness, and I didn't find out about that until I got back. What it was. I was sick. Yeah. Gotcha. And so we got to this point. And that was where some of my trust was restored. And the Sherpa was like, it's getting dark soon. We still got an hour before we get to the next stop. Let me help you. And I was like, no, I'm good. And then, I went a few more steps and I'm like, okay. So he tied me to his back. Like, I'm 160 pounds. Gotcha. This dude tied me and picked me up like I was a feather, and he was hiking up the mountain. Wow. And then I looked over and I saw that. I said, no, put me down. He's like, no, I got you. I said, no, put me down, because if I fall off this mountain in my own accord, okay, but I'm not falling off this mountain because you misstepped. So, it was it was an experience. They definitely got their laughs off of me, but the feeling that I had when I got to the top of that mountain. Okay. Yeah. That was the true paradigm shift. Right. Because up to that point, I had been suicidal. Okay. Gotcha, and that's part of what pushed me into the things that I do now, my organization. Gotcha. Because the state of our mental health, it governs everything else. Yeah. It governs, our physical health, our finances, our relationships, our jobs, our ability to move forward. Right. If that's out of whack, everything else is going to be dysfunctional. Yeah. And if we don't address it, then we live in dysfunction. Right. So that was really my way back. Gotcha. Yeah. Gotcha. And that was the inspiration for me to start my organization. Gotcha. So just took a marathon and climbing a mountain and then skydiving, jumping out of a plane. That's funny, because that's what that's on my list to do this year. So. Yeah, but I'm gonna tell you this. Yeah. We'll never do it again. Okay. I've got it on DVD for posterity. Yeah, there you go. It's just something about seeing the undercarriage of a plane from the outside that just kind of did something to me. Right. Yeah. It's like I've never seen. Yeah. I mean, and then somebody else said, you realize, I think it might have been Will Smith, said, you realize you've never seen a door open on a plane ever to begin with. Exactly. And then it's like, there's a lot of like, what the heck moments. And they had us jumping out the back, and I was like, Ooh, Michelle. Yeah. Did you get it yet? Do you have it yet? Right. You got yourself. Do you have it? But that all built up to the vision and purpose that you got going on. Right. Right. I had been in a very dark place for a long time, but I did what we're so good at doing as a people. Gotcha. Women, I focus on women because I know women, but as a people, we are so good at wearing a mask. Right. And that mask, we think we're doing it to protect us, but it's preventing us from being able to come together as a community as we're supposed to, and completing our purpose, because we can't be an island. And I had become an island. Right. Yeah. A lot of people. Yeah. That's I mean, and that's just a lot of people, I think, that just think they can do it themselves. Right. Or like you said, they put on that mask, and to the world everything's fine. But on the inside, it's turmoil. Your heart is bleeding. Right. Yeah. Begging for help. Yeah. Begging for help. Yeah. I've, same thing. I've been there before.
luckily I had good people around me that I know
Exactly.
I could reach out to.
Exactly.
And that I did reach out to. And,
Exactly.
you know,
And it
just
took a
wondering,
while
help
to
each other
find the
out.
right people.
Right.
You know, I will say I've definitely sharpened my level of discernment.
Gotcha.
You know, discernment, however people want to label it or categorize it. Because my heart is so pure and open, and I always want to see the best in people. That a lot of times it was to my own detriment.
Gotcha.
And so a lot of the unresolved stuff, everything was coming to the surface, and I was like, this is too much. And
Gotcha.
But in the end, it all worked out.
And you've got a fantastic organization where you said you're helping women, and you want to talk a little bit about that, because I know you're helping women to heal.
Right. So it's called Healing Women, Healing Nations.
There you go.
And the concept behind it, like why it came into being, because women, we are so crucial in the lives of people.
There it is.
We are mothers.
Right.
We are sisters.
Right.
We are leaders.
Right.
We are lovers.
Right.
We are friends. We are whoever we need to be for whoever we need to be that for. We are the first focal point, instilling the morals and values and character into our children.
Right.
So if we're dysfunctional, then what we're pouring into our children is dysfunctional.
Right.
And then we're turning dysfunctional children, which turn into dysfunctional teenagers, which turn into dysfunctional adults, and we're turning them out into the community, and it becomes a vicious cycle. And so, by healing a woman, we're healing a nation one woman at a time.
Right.
And so I was really burdened to do that because I had encountered so many women that had been hurt from domestic violence, sexual violence, and all of that. I fit all of that. Post-traumatic stress, secondary to military sexual trauma, mental health challenges, secondary to trauma, and I'm like, somebody's got to be the voice. And though there are a lot of people doing it, I just knew that I had to do something. I had to be that voice. I had to start the conversation. And not just for them, but for me, because as we help others heal, we heal. Just like you were talking about earlier, you're coach. You're coaching people about mindsets, but I'm sure in doing that, you're coaching yourself as well. So that was the thought.
It's for myself first.
Exactly.
And then, absolutely, same thing.
And so that was the thought process. And then I didn't really expect it to take off the way that it did. There's still a lot to do, a lot of growth, but the way that people latched on to the transparency of me being vulnerable to share, because the vision is a community of women healing their wounds, regaining their voice, and finding their place in society again. And we do that by educating the community about the hidden needs that are going on. Engaging the women and letting them know about their resources and empowering them to know that they are more than their traumatic experiences. There is life after that.
You don't have to identify with it.
Right. And so, we started doing empowerment events. Our first one, Learning to Love Me. Teaching women the importance of self-care as it relates to their self-esteem, their self-value, and their self-worth.
That's huge.
Because we're nurturers. We put everybody else first and we're last. And then we're burnt out and we have nothing else to give. And it affects everybody. Because as a spouse and as a lover and as a helpmate, men are leaders, yes. But men look to the women in their lives for direction and guidance and support. And so again, if we're dysfunctional and we're pouring that into them, what do we do? What are we pouring out? How can we be united, as one? And we're divided within.
Huge. It's huge.
I
like what you said, and that was why when we first met, actually at this same spot, And when you told me about the mission and the vision, I was like, I got it immediately. I was like, that is so powerful. Because of course, you need both. The man and the woman, but the women just have such a big, such big shoes to fill. Like you said, it just, it bleeds into, not bleeds, but trickles into everything.
It does. And so, we have to, as women, acknowledge that we're not as strong as we pretend to be. I mean, we have our own individual strengths as women and as men.
Y'all are strong.
But we can't pretend that we can take on both roles as the man's role.
Right.
We can't pretend and ignore the fact that things have happened to us and suppress that, and then expect to be able to go and live a quality of life and make an impact, not just in the lives of our loved ones, but to fulfill our purpose.
Yeah.
You can't do it. The first step is acknowledging the things that have been done, and then the second step is forgiveness.
Yeah.
And not just of those that have done things to you, but forgiveness of self. And that was a huge thing for me because I believe that's not. I believe it's still a work in progress.
It always is, because it's always it always it keeps popping up because it's in the back of the brain. But no.
And so I have an acronym for trust, because that's what I had to learn to trust, not just others, but learn to trust myself.
Right.
So time, respect, understanding, sensitivity, and tenacity.
Gotcha.
All of that.
Nice.
It takes a long time to build. It only takes a second to destroy, and sometimes it can't be, repaired.
Right.
And so the biggest thing that I want to instill, and the biggest legacy that I want to leave, is a legacy of